Welcome, everyone, to today's episode of Empowering You TV. I'm so excited that you're here with us today. My name is Amy Hutton, and I'm your host for this show. I'm now in Calgary, Alberta, yet I grew up in Pickering, Ontario, which is about 20 minutes east of Toronto. Each episode, you will hear remarkable stories of women who've beaten the odds, risen above all challenges, and are now living their amazing lives full on like the brave, empowered women they're born to be. For more information to be featured on the Empowering You TV show, please reach out to me, Amy, at inchbyinchempowerment.com. I'm currently booking into September, October, and beyond. So if you want on the show before the end of 2017, get a hold of me. For today's show, I am so excited to introduce you to my friend Angel Johnstone. She and I met through the networking organization eWomen Network, and we've remained Facebook friends and connections. And then when we see each other at the conference, it's just like an old friend because we've stayed in contact all year. But let me read you just a snapshot of her story and who she is. Angel Johnstone's work experience started with one-on-one sales. After several years in the insurance and financial services industry, she had a career in the real estate, investing, and appraisal until layoffs prompted her to return to direct sales, where she became a top team builder. After her son was born, she found her passion for helping women cultivate more confidence. She launched confidenceiscatchy.com to help women build the life they dream about. She is currently doing speaking engagements as she builds her Facebook community into an international network of women lifting each other up and overcoming their self-doubt together, which is cool because Angel is from the United States and I'm up here in Canada, so she's reaching international. Reaching international. Hello, Angel. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you, Amy?
I'm doing great. The sun is shining. We've had blue sky and not really much in the smokiness from the fires from British Columbia today, so that's always a good.
That is good. Yep.
Yeah. So I just mentioned that you're not here in Canada. So where are you?
I am in Connecticut in the U.S. And it is darker here than it is where you are. So I'm struggling with some lighting issues here today, but I know you can see me, so I'm still here. But yeah, I'm down here in Connecticut.
Cool. And Connecticut is East Coast, West Coast, Central.
East Coast, close to, in between Boston and New York, essentially, like halfway in between. Yep.
Okay. I know where Boston is. I've been there, and I've been here, so I kind of know where you are. That's cool. So let's dive into your So what in your life have you overcome? And care to share your story briefly with us?
Sure. What haven't I overcome at this point? Well, there's probably a lot. I shouldn't wish that on anybody, right? I actually, I've been bankrupt twice, lost a house to foreclosure, got divorced. But before all of that, I also had an interesting history in high school where I basically was outed by my guidance counselor to my family. Didn't really know what that even meant at the time because I was just, 12, 13, just kind of figuring out what this whole new, these feelings were. And my guidance counselor kind of jumped the gun a little bit on figuring out what exactly that meant for my life. So I had to overcome a lot of, bias within my family, not understanding, and also just like our school community, not really being, 1980s, not really being as open as schools are today, to letting people figure out who they are when they're 12 or 13. And so it was, lots of little ups and downs in between, as we all have. But that's pretty much why I do what I do now, is because I feel like those struggles are kind of what made me more confident over the course of the years. And so that's why I want to bring some of that confidence to other people.
That's awesome. Yeah, and school guidance counselors, I can totally relate to that one. In grade 7, before that even, actually. So let's just say it was grade 3. Nope, yeah, grade 3. I was told, so 3rd grade. I was told by the education system that I would never write well, that I had learning disabilities or borderline learning disabilities and would never write well, always be that C student, and would need help and support in my core subjects, which I did. Like, I did need help because I wasn't catching on. But that label of being told I would never write well stuck with me until well into my late 20s, early 30s. So yeah, I totally understand that whole.
Yep. I had a similar issue with math. I had one teacher that was terrible, and I thought I was terrible at math, and now I'm actually teaching math down here in some ways through my job. So it's interesting how those experiences in high school kind of mold your thoughts about yourself.
Oh, totally. Now, if you could change anything in your life that happened to you in your past, what would that be, and why, and why not, if nothing?
I thought about that, because I think we all wish like we had the crystal ball or the time machine and we can go back and change that one thing. But then I also, I'm also very cautious of that, because, the things that we all come through are kind of who make us who we are. And so I don't know that I want to change anything now. If you asked me that 10 years ago, I'd probably give you a laundry list, right? Like this whole long list of things. But now that I've kind of come through it and kind of looked at things with a sense of gratitude instead of a sense of longing, I don't really feel like I need to change much about my past. I kind of just want to build on what I've already figured out about it, which is that it was all there for a reason. I just didn't know what the reason was at the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. I get asked the same, would I want to change anything? And yeah, a lot of it sucked, like the bullying for 6 years that I experienced. But really, if I didn't go through it, it wouldn't have my passion and my drive to do what I do now today.
Exactly. Yeah.
I know, it's weird. It's really weird in that. So, Angel, what is your why? Why do you do what you do today?
Well, it's funny. I when I do my speaking engagements, I always say that I'm not an expert on confidence. I don't, I've not taken any formal education, no class on how to be more confident, right? So, how did I become a confident person? Really what had happened is a lot of people would come to me in college and after college when I got into the workforce and say, oh, I wish I had your confidence. And I'm looking at this person going, but I'm not really that confident. So what are they seeing in me that they think they don't have? And I started like be a student of confidence. Like, what is it? How do people get it? Why do some people think they don't have it when, other people look at that same person and go, oh my God, they're amazing. Why does that amazing person not think that they're a confident person? Mm-hmm. Really just kind of, social experiment, so to speak, or people watching, to try to figure out what is this elusive word that we're all thinking that we need. And for me, it's really like turning that whole concept on its side and saying, you know what, confident people aren't people that have it all figured out. Confident people tend to be people that either don't have it all figured out, but are knowing that they can, or have already gone through some major stuff and came out the other side of it, and now have this ability to know whatever comes their way, they're going to be okay. You don't have to have all the answers. They don't have to have it all figured out right away. And so for me, my why is trying to get people that think they're not confident to start kind of reframing that for themselves and relanguaging that for themselves to start thinking about, well, okay, maybe I don't feel confident in this aspect of my life, but I do feel more confident over here. How can I translate that some way back to the areas that I don't feel confident in? So it's really just, getting people to feel better about the skills and the who they are. But my why really is I just see so many people struggling with this, and really good people, not people that have a plethora of problems. These are just people that are just kind of a little lost onto how to bring forth their best self, and they're down on themselves. And I hate to see that, because it's a waste of talent, it's a waste of time, and I think it's kind of like the cause of all of the epidemics out there. Mm-hmm. Is that nugget of confidence is missing in some element. So if we can fill that gap, I think we can probably solve a lot of social ills.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. That's so awesome. Now, as you mentioned, I'm and I'm guessing a yes, but this must go into what you do for your business. And I know you do direct sales, or you were doing it, but not as much anymore. So how about you share what your business is and what you do?
Well, my business, I did start in, like I said, in direct sales in my bio there, and I've sold a whole bunch of different things. But this, for me, this last run, if you will, started because I started feeling more confident physically after the birth of my son. I started doing things that were to help check off the list the things I didn't like about myself physically. And so as I got more confident in that, I also realized, well, wow, there's other places I could learn and grow. And so I just kind of really went on the self-development journey for my own development, not for anyone else. And so my business is kind of an offshoot of that. Confidence is Catchy was born out of, I can't be the only one that's feeling this way, because people wouldn't be saying to me, I wish I had your confidence, if they were confident, right? So I was like, what if we could bring people together in a community setting on Facebook and really just have this conversation, have a conversation. You don't have to have it all together. And in fact, if you look at the people out there that are confident in the world, if you look on the media, if you look in arts and entertainment, if you look in the movie stars and models and all of that, when you look at those people that come off as confident, and then you see their name in the tabloids, it's like, okay, well, maybe I don't have to have it all together. And so my business really is bringing people together on Facebook to have that conversation, to start thinking a different way about themselves, and also to bring in coaches and people that are far smarter than I am with really great skills and really great programs to facilitate that for people and to give them an opportunity to kind of sample a bunch of different styles and a bunch of different techniques that can help them find more confidence in their own life.
Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Do you have a testimonial you can share, or a story of a client that you've worked with who's changed from working with you in your business?
Well, I one of the things that I'm finding, especially you're in Canada, you don't have the same problem that we do with the president that is scaring the Jesus out of everyone.
So much too. Don't worry, he's scared.
You should be very scared. We're all very scared. But in that moment, in that moment after the election, when we found out, I can't say his name, won, I actually found myself almost daily spending a good amount of time on Facebook Messenger, just calming people down. Like, even though I was panicked on the inside too, and like, oh my God, what does this mean for all of us? I found a lot of people that were in the LGBT community were very nervous. I found friends of mine that have immigrant background or are Muslim, very, very nervous. And so I was kind of walking them through, like, no, you can't let this derail you. You can't hide in your house. You can't quit your job and move back to, the country of origin. Like, those are not rational responses to that. We need you here. We need you to show up, and we need you to step out of your shell and really basically remind everyone that you're here, you deserve to be here, and let us support you. And so I found that my business turned into almost kind of like a support network for those people that were really marginalized by the rhetoric that was going on, and it's still unfortunately going on.
Yes.
So I felt like I was helping on that level, just to be there, a sounding board for people that were really very, very taken aback at the result.
Yeah, that's and that's powerful too, and it's interesting because there are different populations across the world that are very much watching what's going on in the United States. I know here, yes, in Canada, the LGBT community and the Muslim communities, they're all like, no, we got to stay true to who we are and be okay with being ourselves. And it's interesting too, here in Calgary this week is actually Pride Week. So it's neat what's going on here in the city too. And I'm an ally of the community, and I have friends who are openly LGBT and whatnot. So it's like, yeah, be yourself. And that's part of the thing I do with young girls is just be you and be okay with that. And yeah, people might call you names, but you know what, be yourself. So I totally can relate to the helping people calm down. And myself and some other here Canadians up here, we kind of laugh a little bit. It's almost as if the Canadians, maybe the Mexicans are doing this too, pulling our lawn chairs up to the border of Canada and the United States.
I almost envision you all doing that. The entire world has pulled their lawn chairs up to our border at this point.
And just watch what's going on every day.
Let me get the popcorn. Hold on a minute.
Yeah, that's a few of us are like, oh my gosh, what's happening today? So yeah, I always, as I said to like yourself and other friends in the States, I'm like, I'm just sending your country love. That's all I can really do.
We need it all. We need it all.
Send your country's love. So with what's going on in your world, in your country, and things going on in your life, how do you stay empowered in your own life? Like, what do you do to keep going?
Well, yeah, this has actually been pretty hard since November 9th of last year because nobody really quite expected this. So I did actually have a little of what I'm going to call a hiccup in my development there, because it really was very upsetting to see friends. I actually lost friends over this election because I started seeing a side of them that I did not think was there. And that was really, really difficult to realize that the people that I thought were not racist and not xenophobic and not against the gay and lesbian community actually were, and now all of a sudden felt empowered to say what they really thought. And I couldn't be a party to that. I couldn't, be a part of that. So there was a couple of months there where I was a little bit like gun shy of people, honestly, because it was almost like everyone was sifting and sorting themselves. And so I kind of pulled back a little bit, but I went back to things that have always worked for me, which is reading books about what can you do. And for a while, if you were to go back to my Facebook feed for November and December, it was a lot of politics, and it was a lot of trying to educate people of, this is what's happening, this is what could happen, this is the good, the bad, the ugly. But I also realized I was going to get caught up in that. And so what I did was I kind of made a pact with myself after the new year. I had gone to the Women's March. It was amazing. It was like 2 blocks from Madonna. It was awesome. But I came back from that and I was like, what I'm doing on social media is not positive. It's not good for me. And so what I did was I just kind of put a moratorium on reposting things that were negative, and just really tried to focus on the positive. And I went back to reading my self-development books, and I started writing again, and I started to try to do things like, what can I do to fix the situation? Because I can sit on Facebook and bitch all day. We all can, but that doesn't do anything. The same 7 people liking the same post doesn't change the world. And so I just kind of tried to refocus on what little things can I do to make the world a better place. And even if it's a tiny little thing, it's better than nothing. And so that's really what it came down to for me.
Yeah, that's really good. Totally. Now you mentioned books, but I want to ask again, or a different question. What is a book or a movie or a song that empowers you to keep going in your own life?
The song of the year for me is Mary J. Blige, Doubt. Which is all about, I can't doubt myself anymore. And I think we all do that a lot too much, actually. So that's one that I listen to quite often. I also kind of reconnected with the entire Barbara Streisand catalog and found some really good gems that I wasn't a big fan of before, but I'm finding that they're good now. Woman in the Moon is another one that's really empowering, and just basically for me, it's music. I try to I have kind of an eclectic music taste, and so I have a lot of different Pandora stations and a lot of different YouTube channels, trying to find music that inspires me, and also in my car, I use my car kind of like a mobile university. So I put a lot of CDs and things on personal development in there because I don't have a lot of time to sit down and read, but I will listen to things as I drive. And so anything by Brian Tracy or anything that's about building your business, again, focus on what can I do that is going to help me move forward. Is usually what I try to get in front of my face, that somehow, or in between the two.
Yes, as my business teacher says, these 6 inches get out of your coconut.
Yes.
Yeah, be there. And that's awesome. Yeah, music for me is pretty powerful too. I love, I'm a fan, I'll say it, I'm a fan of Lady Gaga. I'm a fan of Katy Perry. I love those ladies, and Pink too. I heard she did
love Pink
yesterday on the VMA Awards. I didn't watch it per se, but I've now seen and heard about what happened. So yeah, she's really, really cool. And a side note that's just kind of popping up bit about the acceptance and being yourself and everything like that. So at the eWomen Network conference that you and I have both been to, this year we went through and said the core values every time in the main ballroom.
Yeah.
And I found it rather interesting that there's a core value that says about everyone can belong, everyone's included, and Sandra Yancey, our CEO of the eWomen Network, if you haven't heard about it, go look it up.
Definitely go look it up. It's really awesome.
Yeah. She was like, even like tapping, rather forcefully, like tapping the table and saying that everyone belongs and everyone's included, because I know that your president has made this stipulation about the military and who can belong. And so she was very adamant.
Sorry on that, we'll be here a lot longer than the time we have.
She was very adamant saying everyone belongs and she doesn't care about it. So on that note, what is a simple step that our viewers can do to empower themselves?
You know, it's funny. When I do my speaking engagements, I actually talk about starting with the end in mind. Where do you want to end up in this process? So one thing I try to be very mindful of is, who do I want to be? I may not have any clue how to get there. That is unimportant. But who do I envision I want to be in my best self, and try to hold that vision and then just work towards it. I'm not going to get there every day. There are days that it's not going to happen, but that's okay. And just forgive yourself. And then the other thing that I found really helpful was from a very superficial level. Some of us get caught up in how we look. And so I actually wrote down a list of everything I didn't like about myself physically. And I kind of just told the critic in my head to shut up. I've written it all down. It is now on the list. The manager in me will work on the list. You don't have to tell me again how my tooth is out of whack, or my ear isn't the right size, or my kneecap, whatever it is, it's on the list, and whatever I can do about it, I will do, and you can politely now go away. And so I found it was really interesting, because once I wrote the list and basically no longer gave that voice permission to bitch at me about the eyebrow out of place or the whatever stupid little thing our brain does, I don't have that inner dialogue as much as I did anymore. I leave my house with no makeup and barely do my hair, and I don't look in the mirror and go, oh my God, this is out of place. Oh my God, I didn't do this. I don't do that anymore, because it's like, it's already on the list. And once it got on the list, if I can do something about it, I will. If I can't, it'll just hang out on the list. The same way in my bills folder, I have a list of bills. And if I can pay that bill, I'll pay the bill. And if I can't, it'll wait until I can pay the bill. It's like, it's the same thing. And you just don't, I don't stress about it anymore. So I would say, as silly as that sounds, if you write a list of the stuff that you don't like, and then just start crossing off the things you can do something about. Because honestly, when I wrote the list and I saw how much it was, I started laughing. I was like, seriously, what is wrong with me? Why do I feel this way? This is nuts.
Yeah.
I realized how ridiculous it was. That there was all of these little things that meant nothing. Yeah. But to me, one day at a time, it felt insurmountable. And then to see it all on paper, I was like, this is retarded. What am I doing?
Awesome. Yeah, totally. So write a list. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Things you don't like, which is good.
And then whatever you can do it.
Yeah, yeah. Now, if you could change your thoughts and ideas, what is a message you want to tell the next generation of girls about empowering themselves? So, for example, if you could go back in time and tell your 11-year-old self something, what would it be?
Oh my God. Do we have time for all that? My 11-year-old self was very, very worried about what everyone else thought. And I think all 11-year-old selves actually are very worried about what other people think. And, if I could do anything, is just say, have more fun, smile more, laugh, dance, do all the crazy, zany things while you can get away with it as a kid. Dye your hair blue, whatever is not unreversible, if that makes sense. Like if I wouldn't say tattoos that early or piercings that early or any of that type of thing, but do everything that is crazy and wild and wacky that you can possibly get away with, that is not dangerous, because later on you may not have a chance to do that. And I mean, I have a nephew that had an opportunity to travel and take a job in Australia. I was like, whoa.
Wow.
I was like, don't let anyone tell you that you're not doing this, because you will totally regret not taking that adventure, So if an adventure presents itself, do it, because you may not have another shot.
Yeah, for sure. That's really true. I being involved in Girl Guides growing up at that age, I applied for, but never got accepted, but it was the push for me to even just apply to go on like a trip to India or to go to England, like to go to different Girl Guide places, not just Canada or the United States, but they were like global. And I never got selected, but still it was the thrill to put my name in the hat and to make it up a couple of the different like rankings, so to speak, because he had to clear where I live, but then you have to get to like the province, or in your case, the state, and then kind of go up from there to represent Canada at this world event. And so I made it up a couple of notches every couple of times, but I never got the yes, you're gonna go.
Right.
But yeah, do travel. That's a big one.
Travel and when crazy opportunities present themselves, take advantage of it where you can.
Yeah.
While you can.
Yeah, totally. Angel, who is someone you want to thank, who inspires you to be your best self, who's helped you when going through a difficult time? If you could write a thank you card to that person, who is the person and what would it say?
That's tough. I have, there's a lot of people on that list from different parts of my life. But I'm one of those people that has lots of acquaintances and a handful of really close friends. And when push comes to shove, my best friend Donna is definitely the one that, when it all comes crashing down, she's the one I call. And she gets me. I don't have to really explain it much. I can just say, the facts, and she'll fill in all of the emotion that goes along with those facts without me having to spill it all out. And more importantly, she just kind of is the one to remind me that I'm not crazy. In fact, this is the conversation we normally have. This is what happened. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Please remind me I'm not crazy. And she's like, oh no, that's totally how you should feel. Or no, you did exactly the right thing. And she just totally validates everything when I'm in the center of chaos. And she's done that since, a really long time ago.
Awesome.
90s, early 1990s. And it makes my heart so glad that she and her husband were able to adopt 2 beautiful kids out of the foster care program, and just to know that somebody with that big a heart is my best friend is awesome.
That's cool. That would be a beautiful letter to write. I actually did this in a roundabout way. My business teacher suggested, he said, okay, for Christmas or just after Christmas, invite 1 or 2 friends, or even up to 3, and take them out for dinner and to show gratitude. Mm-hmm. Well, what I chose to do instead was I hand wrote letters with card, and then invited 3 of my friends who helped me over the year, to my apartment here for dinner. And I knew there was a couple of food restrictions and whatever, so I made it, everybody friendly that we could eat. And then these three ladies actually planned my 40th birthday party last year for me. So we actually took a selfie together. Little beknownst to them, I grabbed that picture and made it into prints and actually framed them and gave it back to them in January as a gratitude, as a thank you. So I love doing gratitude, and it's a great thing to do.
If you don't have gratitude, the rest of it just comes falling down, doesn't it?
Yeah, totally. It does. So let's flip our brains back to more business type questions. And what is coming up in the near future that our viewers should know about?
Well, I'm actually in the process now of putting together the chapters of a book. I'm interviewing people. My book is not going to be your typical self-help, type of genre. I'm actually doing this in a very different way. We're going to be talking about confidence, but what I'm doing is writing some more experiential pieces, pieces that are from the heart. I'm also interviewing people that have experienced some kind of trauma or some kind of overcome some kind of big event in their life, to see how they got through that, and transcribing those interviews into different chapters. And then I'm also going to be including some artwork and some things like that in the book. So it's kind of a compilation in my mind, it's kind of the way we experience things now through social media, where sometimes you're getting music, sometimes you're getting memes, sometimes you're getting pictures and videos, and sometimes you're getting words. And so for me, it's kind of like I'm bringing a little bit of all of those elements into the book, because I think we all are used to that way of kind of getting content now. And also I think that multimedia version of that, not only are we kind of used to that way, but I think it also engages our brain in a different way. So rather than just sitting down and reading, you're getting different things to interact with. So I'm kind of excited about that. I'm not quite sure when I'll have that all put together and out there, but I'm working on that now. And then the other thing I'm planning for the beginning of the year is to start putting together some online workshops through my Confidence is Catchy Facebook page, to allow people to meet some of these wonderful people that I've been interviewing and working with and coaching with, and really just kind of build that community. So right now I'm just building up my Facebook account with lots of fabulous people that want to be more confident, and providing them little bits of content, but we're going to start blowing that up after the new year. So it's going to be exciting. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So, Angel, if we could, dream big or dream bigger, what's another intention you set for yourself, or what's something like more?
Oh, something more. I mean, at the end of this, the culmination of this in my mind is like a 2-day or maybe even a 3-day workshop event where people can come and kind of work on what I call the 5 pillars of confidence, with journaling, coaches, makeovers, kind of like modeling the eWomen conference, but with a format that's really about how do I find these nuggets that I'm not mining in my own self. How do I find things that are the building blocks into building a better person? I almost think of like the $5 million man, like you have the shell, but there's all this titanium underneath that we're not really using to its full extent. And how do we to bring that forward, and how do we really use our full potential in all of our ways, whether that be emotional, mental, physical, or all of the above. So I'm excited to have the nuggets of that brewing in the background as something that I can look forward to about a year from now. So I'm excited to pull this all together finally.
Cool. And now you've mentioned the Facebook group, but how can they contact you? What's the best way?
My website has contact information, both my personal email, my phone number, my how to find me if I'm doing events in the local area, as well as social media links. So that's the best place to go, and that's confidenceisketchy.com.
Awesome. We will post that below, and you'll see it as we go through. So Angel, guess what? We've actually come to the end.
Oh my goodness, already?
I know. We've come to the end. Do you have any final words of wisdom or anything you want to share with our viewers to launch them into the rest of their afternoon, evening?
Sure. I guess really the biggest thing that I want to get out to people in general is that you really do not have to have all the answers to have confidence. Um, there's no playbook here. Nobody has a manual. Nobody got a class that you didn't get. There's just we're all in the same boat together. And I think when we become authentic and real about that, that's when the magic starts to happen. One of my favorite movies that came out in the last year or so was Bad Moms. And the reason I love that movie so much, it was like, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Just own the fact that you have no clue how to do this. And then suddenly all of these resources, all of these other women who are also clueless, but together make it work. And that's, I think, where the community building is for me. It's the same type of thing as I don't have it all together. I'm juggling a job and a business and a kid and a mom and, all of the things that we all have. And some days it's God, I hope this all works. But I just try to be real about that. And somehow in being real about it, like you were saying, be yourself. Somehow that authenticity comes through and people suddenly want to help and want to be, because they get it. Because they're in the same boat. We're all doing the same thing. And we're all trying to put on this facade like we all know what we're doing. We don't know what we're doing. It's okay. Totally okay. So that's really it. It's just be okay with not knowing it all. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, that's awesome. So thank you, Angel. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. If you, viewers watching, want to be featured on Empowering You TV, just like our guest today, Miss Angel, then reach out to me. I would love to feature you on the show and spread your message on a global scale. So remember, everyone, inch by inch, you can overcome anything, any challenge that is in front of you. I do believe in you, and I know you can get through it. Till next time, be brave, be bold, and be yourself. Take care. Bye.